Welcome everyone back to, I always call it special, but this is an extra special episode of All-Star PD Sportscast with my co-host Tim Locker from MYPDPARTY. Please support him on Instagram and all social media. And also I'm Dr. George Ackerman, or Sharon's son George. You can find me at TogetherForSharon.com. But it's an important show that where we discuss the world of sports and studying the progression of Parkinson's disease. And today is a special background and beautiful artwork from Tim and all the things he does, like my hat, to bring it to life. But to be honest, we wanted to also dedicate today, we didn't plan this, but to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So I'm going to send it over to my brother, Tim. But what's the most important to me, the show, is that that moment, we got to actually meet. And that's, I almost cried, but we didn't have time because we're so jet lagged, tired, and, so much to do, not really resting or relaxing, but a moment I'll never forget.
Hey guys, what is shaking? I agree. Very important episode here. It was definitely an experience for me. Um, it's a chance to do something that not a lot of people get to do, which is talk to some of the lawmakers, and the highest um, offices of the country, which is amazing. But listen, before we get into that, I don't want to waste a lot of time on it because time is precious. But you have got to tell us. Listen, I was sitting there. I heard stories about it. The hoops and hurdles that you had to go through to get to Washington. At one point, I was getting updates that you were thinking of taking a $50,000 flight, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Well, for curing Parkinson's, but what?" Tell me
well,
about what happened.
first, I won't take much time, but I would like to send a shout out to Anne because she's someone not just who means a lot, I'm sure, to both of us, but she literally stayed up the entire night with my wife and I trying to get me on different planes because I was kind of heartbroken. So to rewind, I've been doing this for 5 years since I lost my mother due to Parkinson's, and that's the only reason I do it in her memory. But for everyone, as you all know, out there still battling and your families, because I don't want people to feel alone like I did during the whole entire battle. So I've been doing this for a while. I kind of felt I wrote a book on an MTC at the table, like that I'm not really part of the community, even though obviously you open your arms and many others, but by the bigger organizations, because I would spend like hundreds of days and hours just promoting them all, and I don't want anything, but I got an email, a month ago and said, "Would you like to join us in DC from the Michael J. Fox Foundation?" And I love them all, but to me, that's Mr. Fox is an idol hero. I had the honor to meet him, but he's struggling now, and that's kind of heartbreaking. So for a different show, so I said yes, and I was on board. And then all of a sudden, I find that someone named Tim and Esther, and some of the people who I've known and consider family, literally you, brother, her sister, and we talk every day, text all three of us, me and her, but that we were going to meet. So for me, this was something again, it could be a once in a lifetime because with these events, you really never know. Like COVID knocked it out and things. So I was excited. It was planned. I had a beautiful, not beautiful, but a flight. And I will name the name, and I'm an attorney, so feel free, JetBlue, to write me, not Tim. If you, I'm not going to say anything horrible, but I've never experienced anything like it. I had everything perfectly planned. The flight, I was there at 4 p.m. Flight was for 6 or 7, doesn't matter. I'm sitting there ready to go. I don't like flying. I have a lot of issues with my back, and I wasn't going to let that stop me. So I sat there. It was 3 gate changes, which I'd never even had one gate change. I don't, fly a lot. Then on top of that, it was about 7 hours of delays, and they wouldn't just cancel it. You'd have had a app. Every time there was a delay, there was like 30, 40 people cheering and then not cheering, but then cheering, we're finally going. And then we get another text, another delay. I've never experienced, and then another and another. It finally came to midnight, and I'm like, please don't cancel. I'll wait all
Yeah,
night. And then they wouldn't cancel, and they delayed it to the next morning at 10 a.m. But they actually, no offense again to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, one of the busiest places, they were actually shutting everything down. They had about 10 police officers, and I'm a cop, so I felt the offensive, like standing there because they thought all the people were going to riot, which they weren't. They were all really nice people. So unfortunately, called my wife and said this might not happen, and it was really sad because I wanted to meet you. To be honest, that was more important to me. No offense to the Michael J. Fox Foundation and everyone, but to me to you than the politicians. So spent the whole night. Anne called and we were trying. I would have paid a lot, like 10,000, to get on a private plane just to make it. But there was a certain point which there was, they again. I don't want this whole show to go off target, but they should have canceled. I could have jumped on one in Miami. There was a lot of them, and they didn't
right.
do that. I don't know why they did that.
Kept stringing you along.
Yeah, they messed the whole, so I missed everything and it was just sucked. So I luckily decided, we had a long talk and, it wasn't my fault, even though I felt it was mine. So he said maybe next time. And I decided, maybe we shouldn't do it. And as I was, gonna go to sleep and kind of give up, I thought about my mother, thought about all of you, and I always wanted her voice to matter still, but in the Capitol, it's the
Well,
pinnacle.
you made it, brother. It was meant to be. It was so great to see you. And I'm sorry I had to go through all that to get there, but you made it, and it was a great trip. You know.
And I didn't miss the best thing for me was the 5:30 events. That was, I mean, to be in, we'll talk about, but to be in that room with senators on the plan who I was lucky to have two of the 4 or 5 on the show. So it was kind of like to meet them was like meeting, friends. So
Yeah.
those people in that room are people who really care about this plan, want it to go forward. And when we get to more about our states, I wish I kind of was with your state because I'm not going to say anything horrible, but I'm not thrilled about the trip because of the support of my Florida, which you think would be a lot more caring. Out of 5 individuals, I only met one who I really do admire, U.S. Senator Rick Scott, but he's been on my show. He's always taken so much time. I got to shake his hand. I think you remember me, but that was a great moment. But the other, day and things, 3 individual didn't show.
Yeah.
Staffers is nice and all, but again, we're being taped and, it's not what I wanted. I wanted to meet the actual rep. So, I think overall it was an A plus for networking.
Yeah.
Meeting Miss Ali, that was great. I asked her to come on the show. She said email her and she said she would. So we had to figure out, if we
Okay.
could.
And just so everybody knows what we're talking about, to those who aren't aware, I mean, the reason that we went, there's a lot of asks, they would call it, from the Fox Foundation and this community as far as what we need from our government. I mean, one of them was just simply accelerating the funding that we need, to get to the NPP, the
Yeah.
National Parks Project, which it's now called. The one thing is that too. I mean, when you make these big projects and foundations, I mean, you need advisory councils, and they have yet to name that. And I was educated that that's supposed to happen within the first 12 months, but we're rapidly approaching that. So I mean, it makes you wonder how serious people are taking it. You hope like, oh, for somebody like Parkinson's, it's not like, okay, we came up with the National Parkinson's plan, check, we're done. They'll leave us alone for a while. No, absolutely not. This is where things start. I mean, this is where put the pedal to the metal and get it moving. So those were two big things, and then obviously there's always going to be the big topic of paraquat, which is not good. I mean, listen, 70 countries have banned this already. Um, and for some reason we're still doing it. I mean, listen, you live amongst, you're in Florida. There's golf courses all around you. My kids are on golf courses and soccer fields. And what I don't get is we're still buying this from the UK and China. And it's funny because I said to one of the representatives from Washington, I said, I'll tell you what, let them test it for. They don't even test it on themselves. They don't even use it, by the way. They just sell to us. I said, let them use it for a couple of years. And if there's any population left, then I'll think about bringing it back over here. Put your money where your mouth is. But for some reason, we're still doing it. So, I mean, those were the three asks. Obviously, like you just mentioned, I mean, we a lot of times you talk to staffers, and those are people that are put in that position and entrusted by the lawmakers to get the message to them. And I think it was a pretty positive trip. I mean, I don't know if you want to just touch about the people that you spoke with, and how you feel your message was received. I mean,
Yeah, again, I'm speaking only for Florida. When I see so many other amazing advocates, I think it's a huge thing that everyone's there because if
yeah,
you imagine all the halls for all the events were filled with my, advocates. So no matter if we met with someone or not, it definitely was an impact. I, again, personally wasn't thrilled with Florida just because we were supposed to meet 2 senators. We met one, which was amazing, but the next day the reps, 3 of them, none of them showed. And I've been trying, as you know, and many out there on my other show, to reach out to these individuals for like, years now. And it's kind of the same feeling, even if I'm not there. So I don't know. I kind of knew when I was there, wouldn't have. So I already met Mr. Rick Scott, the senator. So it was nice he met me, but he's already been a support, been on
right.
the show. The 3 others and I don't want to name them, but the other senator, I've been trying for months, years, nothing still. So I thought being there would change. I followed up, really haven't had much feedback from any of them, even after we went. So again, I'm glad I went. I would go again, but I was kind of wish I was in Texas or with you in New Jersey because I saw Ted Cruz was meeting with people, or Mr. Booker was meeting with people,
Yeah,
not just meeting but spending so much time, which is really what we need. But I kind of again, it's great to meet with a the individual staffer, but I'm not really sure personally, where they go with that or what happens after, because I say, and you also, I'm sure, believe that the work started after we got home,
Right.
but I haven't heard from them. I'll keep trying. I don't know much what we can continue to ask because you don't want to ask 100 times, even though I will.
Yeah,
So,
why not?
but that's my feeling. I would think Florida would be a lot more representative. And again, now we have, I didn't get that area, but unfortunately, Gus Bilirakis, the founder of, the plan with Jennifer Wexton, he's Florida, he's just not my district. So he would have been a dream come true. And I, luckily enough, had him on the show, met with him, got a picture, but he's somebody I would have loved to have, spent time with. And as we continue, just want everyone, and Tim will likely share, and I will too. But if you go to this website, you can actually click take now, and every one of you can also join in with every single moment we did and continue on. Because even if you couldn't be there, I might not be able to be at the next one, or Tim, you can still do even more, I think, from home. So that's really where it all starts, and you can click on the toolkit. It just encourages you can get policy updates. So again, the main thing for me in the show is not just to hang out with Tim, which I love to do, he knows, but to keep continuing to say how grateful we both are to the Michael J. Fox Foundation, because I think it made a huge impact around the country that, even the security knew us, like the police. I was outside because I'm a cop. After I think Wednesday or Tuesday was over, it happened to be dark out. It was definitely safe there, but I was happened to run by an ICE, officer and then an officer, and just because I'm a cop, I showed my ID, and they knew I wasn't gonna do anything. But we got to talk for a while, and they even knew about, Michael J. Fox. The Ubers knew about, so it was like everybody. It was really like a village of advocates, and that's something very special.
Well, like I said too, I was telling the people at the Fox organization because obviously, if you haven't heard by now, I had a tremendous meeting with Senator Cory Booker.
Which I hope will add to the show so everyone
Yeah,
can.
yeah, it was amazing. And a lot of the Fox Foundation people were like, "Oh, you did that on your own." I said, "No, listen, it doesn't matter how big of a megaphone we have. We'll shout it from the rooftop. Sometimes you need people to give you the audience, and that's what the Fox Foundation did for us. And I was blessed with the two people that I met, the officers I met with from New Jersey. I mean, it's unfortunate for them, but their families were directly affected by Parkinson. So maybe they took our message with some open hearts and minds. Um, Senator Booker's dad had it, and I believe Andy Kim, both of his parents had it. Um, but I got to tell you, it was such an amazing. I look at it this way. My main message when I got there was I feel, especially after in light of what happened the past couple of weeks, I feel like this country is so divided. And my message to them was, as a dad with three children, aside from the Parkinson's, let's all get behind this. I mean, this is a disease like every disease that it doesn't discriminate. It's going to attack all races, all colors, all genders, all sexual preferences. So, like in a country where we're constantly looking for somebody to argue with and be divided with, I remember after 9/11, everybody was, even your neighbor that you didn't like, when they hung that flag up, you were like, that's my brother. We need to get back there. And something like Parkinson's, and not just selfishly because I have it, cancer, anything. Uh, let's get behind each other to do that. And I just feel like we are in Washington, but we needed the funding to kind of come along with it. And that was kind of the main goal I hit upon was we're all affected by this one way or another. It does not discriminate. And when I sat down with Senator Booker, I mean, he gave me the biggest of hugs. I mean, we talked about his dad, about my kids. He made a PSA with me. I mean, he wants to do future work with me.
In a month. So,
He literally took my phone, which I haven't posted yet, and he sent the message to my kids
mhm.
about how proud he was of me advocating and being there. That was an oh my god moment for me. That was a pinch myself moment for me. Um, so that people are taking your messages. Um, but again, a massive thank you to the Fox Foundation because, like I said, without them, a lot of people like you and I don't get those everyday opportunities to get to Capitol Hill and be. I mean, I was on the Senate floor. I mean, it was amazing. Nothing like it. So huge thank you to the Fox Foundation for everything they do, for giving us the opportunity to be able to do stuff like that, and for moving the needle more than anybody else ever does. So we spoke our truths, we told our stories, and hopefully it helped move the needle. I mean, that's all I can say.
I was so tired though from the, it's a lot of, and also I felt a little bit, some individuals in that delegation couldn't make a lot of the walking, which was a lot.
It was hard.
You can walk we might have walked 3 miles at one point and got lost a lot, but we definitely spoke about him at the meeting. But big thing with the policy, the Parkinson Project, which now it's kind of shifted to be called. I'm hopefully, I've applied. I think you might know I had 40 endorsements around the country. Dr. Dorsey, Oken, even Congressman Paul Tonko, one who was at the event, all gave me letters. So it's kind of just sitting here for since December waiting. And again, it's only one caregiver in the country, and I'm not sure if it's a caregiver who someone living with Parkinson's, so that would disqualify me. But whether I get it or not, we need to get this going. So it should have already been going.
Yeah.
And that's important. I've reached out to the NIH and many. They probably can't send me there, but to get them on my shows, and they don't really respond. I know they have rules and things, but that's where we need, everything to start. They're the ones who are doing the committee. We could probably have a whole show, on just that stuff sometime. But the policy is important, and
Yeah.
but the advocacy also has to start. I kind of get frustrated because I don't want to say shake, but I want to shake people there.
Yeah.
Listen, so and like you said, if I saw President Trump or President Obama, I would have hugged and gratefully thanked each of them together for just giving us a moment.
Absolutely.
And that's all, that's one issue why I kind of left my world of politics because it was too negative and depressing. But this is something that shouldn't be a border or even a line. So I hope everyone out there can also get along and join together because whether, like Tim said, whether it's in the U.S. or even out of the U.S., we need everybody in this fight.
And it's funny. Like I say, one of the biggest regrets I did have was the first time we met. We didn't have one of those movie moments with the slow mo running to each other and hugging. And
Yeah,
so we're
that'll
gonna,
be fun. We can do it again. Yeah,
but
that was amazing. Like I just kind of again, I was so tired. I didn't sleep or eat the whole day, and I was just looking for you first, and then we found each other. It was like everyone's in a hurry and things, but it was definitely an incredible moment that we should
and
try and recreate one day and put a video.
I will say, wasn't it? We didn't touch upon it yet, but
We also spent a lot of time, which was nice. Like it
yeah,
wasn't, I don't know why we were always together, but it was great to, because there was also Mr. Glenn Higa was there and George Manahan, who are very like my family. And George was actually one who presented one of the senators with an award. He's a huge advocate. He spoke in Congress when the bill was going through. So he's been a mentor. And Glenn Higa from Hawaii Parkinson's Association.
yeah.
He's been at my house before, so I knew him. But it was weird because we all, even though we're spread out, which I don't like, because I want to be with all of you, we came together so much. The breakfast was amazing. There was just so many.
How about we didn't speak about it, but how about the gala that night?
Oh, that was
I
my
mean,
favorite.
you met some of the most influential people that helped pass this NPP, and it was such amazing to be in the room with them and see
Uh,
them at the boards and take pictures with them. It was inspiring. It was unbelievable.
well, they all have a copy of my mother's book, but I don't think I knew two of them knew me, but others, I've been writing to them too. Never got a response, which was tough. But to be able to take a picture and meet them finally, it was a
Yeah,
once in a lifetime thing. I don't know if they'll get all those individuals together. And even in there, they ran out as fast as they can, but they couldn't outrun me. No one. That, like I always say, I treat everything like you never know if it's your last
I
chance
agree.
either. And I think if there were 200 people, I might have met 175. So I'm upset that I met the other 25. You probably, like, everyone wrote to me and said, I don't know how he does it, but it's just a drive. Same thing. One lesson I learned too is no matter what obstacle, even a plan, you can't give up. And that's why I think about, with Parkinson's, even if it's a tough day, someone out there is tired, doesn't want to work out, you have to get up and work out. You got to walk a little. You have to, because if you don't, if we all give up, then what happens is going to have 50, 60 million people battling. And I do wish more people would respond to this show, to my show, to your show, to our posts. I know you're getting some beautiful highlights, which I love. And this is the one field we want everyone to be excelling. It's not like there's no competition because I could care, it's not
Right.
just frustrating that more people aren't watching or hearing or sharing because sometimes, we spend, everyone knows a lot of time. Like people might not know, a lot of hours. Some nights I don't sleep and no one asked me to do any of this. I don't have to because I don't have Parkinson, but I just wish more people would get involved before it's kind of too late. Because like, that number sickens me that we're going to go from 1 million people to like 30 million in just 20 years. So
And that's one of the main takeaways. And before we go on, that's one of the things I felt important to touch upon. One of the main takeaways I got from this trip was that I feel that Washington is listen. They've made a lot of advances, and Parkinson's, no doubt about it, in the past 10 to 15 years. The Fox Foundation will tell you that. But they'll also tell you that now is the time to strike. Like the people are talking about it, and that's why we were there. And from what I was told, and I could be wrong, that a lot of the conversations about spending happen in the fall and they get presented pretty much at the new year. So what everybody was saying, this like the staffers in Washington, they were pretty much telling us, listen, now is the time to get out there and make noise. Don't wait for the new year. Like be a pain in the butt now so that they remember you when they start bringing budgets up and those conversations happen. So, like you said, it gets a little disappointing when you don't find more people that are involved. And I just wanted to mention one thing. You see, I have a hat. It says Gray Matters. I wanted to start, and I did. And I got an amazing feedback on the first go around. I did speak to Dr. Dorsey as well, and he's going to endorse it and put it out there. Obviously, Gray Matters with the correlation to the brain. But we want to, on the first of every month, have a post something in gray, whether it's a hat, a shirt, something if your dog is gray. I don't even care if it's a blank screen. Maybe that'll give somebody a reason to ask you, hey, what's this screen? And then you can tell them. But the whole point is that the first of every month is just a gentle reminder to start talking to your congresspeople, speak to your local officials, get the word out there. We need to get people talking about this. That's the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but you got to be the squeaky wheel. So at this level, we could do that, but we need more people. And that's what this is all about. We need to strength is in numbers. There's no doubt about it. And now is the time to start building those numbers up, whatever it takes.
And we could tag Gray Matters on all our shows too, but I don't
Sure.
want to have a conversation next year with you about this, that we didn't get enough support, with this. We need everyone to share this show. Again, we don't get anything, we don't want anything, we just want awareness. And it's, just very important. I always joke, I might have told you or said on the show, but I'm probably do send, 10, 20, 30 letters every few months to all my legislators to do something or to come on the show. Maybe they'll join us here too. But imagine if it was, so I'll send that, right? And I'll get, a lot of them just don't respond. I just do it again. Imagine if we had 200 advocates from Washington doing that, or now multiply it by, 1,000, or then famine too. Now we got 50,000 people. They're going to listen. Trust me, everyone. I've worked in politics, both sides. But if we don't have that, and if it continues to just be Tim and I sending the one letter or two letters, it's just, again, it's going to be the same conversation next year. And we're going to be saying, how come the, committee still hasn't gotten formed? But we need everyone out there.
100%. I mean, listen, I have no problem being a pain in the butt. I know I can be. My mother always told me the one thing I was blessed with was a big mouth, and I'm going to use it. So we need everybody else to start using it too. I mean, that's what this is all about: advocating, getting the word out, which obviously then leads to funding, and funding leads to a cure, science and a cure. That's the chain of events. I learned very early on from people like you, from people like Allie, who's a big advocate. Advocating is it's simple, telling your story. That's all it is.
We'll have her. She needs to be a guest on our show. So
Yeah, we'll get her. But she's amazing. I mean, I learned so much from you guys, and and that's why. Listen, I know it's hard getting on camera. Like, I don't have a huge comfort level with it, but I always say there's always a simple part that somebody could do. Even if behind the scenes you want to write letters to your congressman or send emails, there's whatever your comfort level is, you got to use it. We need all hands on deck right now, and whatever somebody feels like they could do, it has to happen, and that's where we are right now.
And also, I mean, even we didn't get to today, but the theme of our show is sports and slowing the progression. But everything, not to joke, but walk around if anyone gets a chance, walk around all the Capitol
Oh,
Hill definitely helped, I think, more than hurt, but it was not easy. But everyone out there, your funding, your awareness, all the contacting legislators, throw in that you need funding for more sports for people with Parkinson's or more activities in cities, states. And, it's so easy to write your mayor, your city councilman or woman, and say that you need more funding or they need something at the local JCC or the recreation center where, any of you go to help people. They can have programs, you can have rock steady. There's so much that you can ask your legislators for, not just about what we're talking, what we went for, but also in terms of sports. I don't want to put Tim on the spot if he has his famous quote to close the show today.
I have a famous quote, and it happened to me directly. And you mentioned Miss Lonnie Ali, and you want to talk about the firepower that was in the office. I was in an office with Senator Booker's staff, Dr. Ray Dorsey, unbelievable advocates, and in walks Mrs. Muhammad Ali. And I said on one of my other podcasts, if I didn't have Parkinson's, I would have been shaken anyway. And that's a huge day as to have to talk to. But she walked up to me and she said, and I was holding a piece of paper, like with just notes. So I didn't want to forget anything. She said, put it down and speak from here. And she pointed to my heart. That's what advocating is. That's my quote. It hit me like a lightning bolt in my chest. It's not about stats. They know all that. They get that from the Fox Foundation. Just tell your story. Tell your story about how difficult life is with this disease. And when she ever walked up to me and she said, "Put this down. Speak from here." That's a quote I'll remember for the rest of my life.
And open invitation to Miss Ali to join us on the next episode.
Yeah.
I want to, of course, thank Tim. Now it's so weird because I know you and actually met you, hugged you, and would have spent eternity together if we had the time. And hopefully we will meet again.
Maybe.
Until that day, we still have this going, and I think it's a great show. I love it. And everyone knows it's my own personal show is good and all, but this one really does keep me going because I get to also learn from Tim every day. So thank
And
you.
and George, just not to cut you off, but one thing I will say too, you just touched upon it. If you have any questions and you're not coming across All Star PD Sportscast, go to Together for Sharon. I mean, here's the other side of my hat. Go to my PD party. There are plenty of avenues. We are here to help you. We are here to give you any advice we can on how to advocate better as well. And anything you need, we're here for you.
Yep, I'm biased. I love the All-Star Sports, PD Sports. And also the NBA season's coming back, which
You know,
I'm like dying here without basketball. It's been
no,
tough. So,
soon enough.
I know football. We actually one day I guess we'll have a show just talking about all the sports and
There you go.
so there's so much going on in the world of sports. So I know that you're expert on football. That's going on. Everything, we're doing so much with Parkinson's awareness, but we all the sports are flying by, and
They are.
actually people who even if we can't have as guests have been affected by Parkinson. Maybe we could have shows. I know there's actually a NHL hockey player whose father has it. Reached out a few times, but I think we'll talk off air. But we can have shows dedicated to them and their family. We don't, even if we can't get them as a guest now, I think that's a
Absolutely.
good way to go next. So want to thank you, Tim, send our love and support to you, the whole family, and
Likewise.
already excited for the next show because it's just life changing, not just that day meeting, but also continuing because this day is where I find it hard to keep going. And then I look to you and realize that I can't give up because we still have work to be done.
I
But
will.
thanks. I'm going to send it again to Tim. Any final notes here?
All I want to say is you kind of touched upon it. It was such an honor to meet you. To finally meet in person. It was inspiring. I think it was fitting that it happened where we were, because as much as we try and touch hearts through a camera, we were trying to touch hearts in major legislative offices, and it had to happen that way. I know you went through hell getting there, but it had to happen that way. And it was an honor meeting you. And listen, guys, I like I said, whatever your comfort level is, now's the time to strike. Put the pedal to the metal. Reach out for your lawmakers. Whatever we got to do to move the needle to a cure, because we're close.
And we'll have to tag every single politician in the entire Senate, but then we'll get and
Well,
I don't think it'll allow it. But also thanks for the beautiful message you gave. I need a copy of just that part because I would share it everywhere. My mother would have loved, meeting you, and that's the reason, we do this. I don't ask for anything or even and I get a lot of nice emails and stuff, but that video you made needs to be put in gold and on my website, like, and
I'll-
just you'll be, if I knew how to do it, I'd have you like someone click on Together for Sharon, your message will pop up first. So anyway, well, thank you again, everyone.
thank
Listening. Thanks to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Thanks to Mr. Fox for never kind of, being private. He didn't have to do any of this, but he's done more than he'll ever know, and we'll keep his fight going forever. Unless we find a cure, and then none of us have to do. Well, I told you this is going to be a sports show about sports. So this has been another episode of All Star PD Sportscast with your host Tim Lockard. Please go to my PD Party. Instagram is my favorite, and I'm Dr. George Ackerman. You can find me at Together for Sharon anywhere. But it's really important that we got to get this show out there because again, so many sports. Some people might not be able to do one, but there's so many others. There's no excuse to get up to go
you.
to do pickleball, to do golf, to do something that might not be, I can't run a marathon. I'm going to actually be going to the Disney run from Team Fox in
Hey,
January. So maybe we'll do a show on that. That'll be fun.
yeah.
I always want a picture with Pluto and Goofy. I don't know if they'll be there that day. probably come live from there.
Might be some goofy.
No, maybe we could go live and do the show from there I'm not, I'm going to be traveling for 2 or 3 or 4 hours for literally like 20 minutes and then coming back home.
He's kind of a man.
Maybe if the timing's right, we could do actually one of these shows because it is sports. So this is the show where we discuss the world of sports, showing the progression and Parkinson. But today again was a extra special one. And again, we do need to maybe recreate with cartoons like you're good at of two of us running together, hugging and advocacy blowing it like fireworks everywhere.
That's a challenge for next show.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks, Tim, and thanks to you, the most important. Without you all out there, we wouldn't be able to do this. It wouldn't be possible. But we love you, and we're thinking of you, and we're fighting for you. And I hope you'll be able to join us too on the next episode. So we'll see you soon. We love you. Thanks,
Love
sir.
it. Thank you.